Hey beer tubers, today we're going to take a look at a beer that I wish was not in this bottle, but this is Matt's Burning Rosids Imperial Cherry Wood Smoked Saison. And it's a big Imperial Saison at 10.5% ABV. Why do I wish this beer was not in this bottle? Well, if you followed Stone or social media, this is a tribute beer in the memory of one of the brewers, Matt Courtright, who also happened to be a friend of mine. So this is a beer that Matt was planning to probably eventually brew at their Liberty Station location on their 10-barrel, I think it's a 10-barrel brewing system they have down there. So it probably would have been a draft-only beer, would have been Liberty Station, the other Stone stores and facilities and all that, and would have remained, you know, just a draft-only beer. But unfortunately, Matt was involved in a brewing accident at the brewery and passed away, which was really hard to take when I heard the news. So I've been meaning to find a way to kind of pay tribute to him, so I'm going to use this particular beer is to kind of, as it says on here, honoring his memory. And just wanted to give you some information on how I came to meet Matt, and we'll talk about the beer a little bit, but most of this is going to be talking about Matt and my relationship with Matt and my experiences and meeting him and talking with him over the short time, like 2 years I actually knew him. So I met Matt along with the other guys from Beer Geek Nation. Daniel Harper, Chris Deltz, James Samakel all came out to Beer Week back in November of 2011. And we went to the Stone Rare Beer Breakfast. And because Daniel was wearing his full-on Michigan gear, I believe he had a KBS shirt and a Founder's hat, or it might have been the other way around. But so this guy comes over and asks him, "Are you from Michigan?" And you know, they spark up a conversation. Next thing I know, they're kind of wrapping up the conversation, come back over to the table, and Daniel introduces, like, "Oh, this is one of the Stone's brewers, and he's from Michigan." And so we just got to chatting, and I think we had somehow brought up the new Vertical Epic that was coming out later that week, and the guys are going to maybe miss out on it. And so Matt's like, "Hold on, let me see if I can fix this." So cut the story short, we ended up going to the outdoor bar at Stone. It was raining that day, and Matt had popped open a bottle of Vertical Epic 11-11-11 for us, and that was well before the release date. This was like on the 5th, and it wasn't going to come out till maybe I think that's back when they did it on the 11th as the release date. And so he was kind enough to share it with us, and he's real cool. I think they exchanged numbers. We ended up not being able to meet back with him, but from that day forward, I'd run into Matt around town at the local breweries here in Vista or at Stone while I was brewing, or maybe after his shift was over, enjoying some beer, and just got to talk with him a lot. The guy loved to brew beer. He's one of the few professional brewers that I know was an avid home brewer as well. And he would talk about some of the beers he was brewing up. I talked about the beers I was brewing up, and man, the guy loved brewing, he loved sports. We both kind of had that in common. We both grew up, played baseball, both were pitchers. Matt loves, of course, the Detroit teams. He's a big fan of the Red Wings and the Tigers. And, you know, I keep a local Hill, Padres, Chargers. When it comes to hockey, I'm an Anaheim Ducks fan. And so last year when they were in the playoffs, Detroit was playing Anaheim, so we had a back and forth going about that, and Matt actually went up and saw at least one game in Anaheim, and unfortunately Detroit got the better of the Ducks in the playoffs. But so I remember meeting up with him at the Mother Earth 2nd anniversary, and he was on full-on like Detroit Tigers gear on, hat and jersey, and that was during their playoff run, I think against the Yankees. And you know, so I'd run into him at local, you know, he'd buy his ingredients at the same shop I would, so sometimes I'd run into him there. A lot of times after my homebrew club meetings, we meet at Stone, and I'd run into him post-shift down there. The brewers are always changing the shifts around, so his schedule always changed, and I kept talking to him about how I have this 8-gallon bourbon barrel, but I can't brew enough beer in one batch to fill it. He's like, "Oh, come over, we'll brew it on my system, or I'll bring my system over, we'll get you your 8 gallons of wort and get it in the barrel." And unfortunately that did not happen. I ended up doing 2 batches, and we never got around to brewing together, which is unfortunate. But man, the guy you hate to use the cliches that always had a smile on his face, one of the nicest people he ever met, but it was really true with him. And he was also the first person to congratulate me on winning the Stone HA Homebrew Rally last year as well. He was actually on the judging panel for that, and so he actually knew the results, and was really excited for me. And we talked about that beer after that, and I'm sure he actually brewed up some of the batches of it at some point. So anyway, back to this beer, Imperial Saison. Interesting concept. You don't see a lot of them, but 10.5%. I've never seen an Imperial Saison this big, so it's a huge beer. The alcohol is pretty well hidden. It tastes like they're using the DuPont yeast strain, the French Saison yeast, I think. Can't remember the strain. I think it's the Y yeast 3711, which I think is the DuPont strain. You get some spiciness, definitely a phenolic character. It's a nice dry beer for 10.5%. The alcohol adds a little bit of sweetness. The cherrywood smoke character is not overly done. If you hate smoke beers, I love smoke beers, so when I heard about this beer I was excited. But the cherrywood smoke is completely different than the beechwood smoke and the peat smoke malts. It's more subtle. It's cleaner, if you will. It works well with the beer to add some nuance to the characteristics, which is mostly just dominated by the Belgian yeast strain. So please give this beer a try, even though you might not be a big fan of the smoke beers. But if you know, obviously you're a fan of Saisons, give it a try. And read the whole story on the back. They're donating part of the proceeds, or all the proceeds, to a charity that GoDesignInc.org that Matt was involved with. And so if any reason, do it for that reason. Give it a try. If you like Saisons, I think you might enjoy this one. It's a big beer, and Matt was coming up with all kinds of crazy creations down at Liberty Station. He did his Crimson Gatekeeper, which was a cherry chocolate porter, or I don't know if it had chocolate in it. He did, and some of these were collaborations with the other stone brewers. Call It What You Want, which was like an Imperial Hefeweizen. I remember talking to him about that beer, and he was so excited because the beer, he fermented out the thing in like 48 hours, something crazy, and it was like a 8% beer, and he was really happy with that one. That was a very cool beer. And he did Matt's Rye IPA, which was good stuff, although he didn't come out exactly how he wanted, if I remember correctly. And I'm trying to remember some of the other beers he did, but he was helping out the brewers down there. I forget his name at the moment, down at Liberty Station. And I just wish I got to try more of his home brews and got to brew with him at some point, but unfortunately that didn't happen. So check out this beer. It unfortunately doesn't look like it's bottle conditioned. It's really crystal clear. Probably just Pilsner malt mostly. Maybe a touch of hop bitterness up front, some earthiness. A lot of earthiness, that sort of phenolic, spicy, peppery kind of character is in there. And then the cherrywood smoke just kind of adds a nice accent to the beer. At 10.5%, it could age well. I wish it was bottle conditioned though. I think it would age better if they were able to do that. But I got a couple bottles and one I'll definitely save for a future date. And like it says, age at cellar temp or drink fresh. So you know, cheers to Stone for putting out this beer in Matt's memory. And I know it was way tougher on them to lose him because they got to see him on a pretty much daily basis there at the brewery, and he was definitely one of the good guys. So this video's gone on far too long, but I don't care. Tribute to Matt. Rest in peace, buddy. Until next time, cheers.